So, too bad. Okay, so I was in here earlier, just kind of trying to get everybody to guess what I was going to make. And here's our pogo stick. So a lot of times when you're making a reference, you can use 2D images, you can use photographs. It really doesn't matter what you use. But as long as you have a reference, it helps versus going in there blind. Um, you could screenshot anything. You can make anything into a reference. So I use photography, and I lined up these two pogo sticks. So you could see they're not on the same level as each other. Here's the door. So I just had to adjust them, and I used these little handy guides in Photoshop to help me align these up. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just got to be pretty close. So let me export the front view. So I'm in Photoshop, and I'm going to export into Autodesk Maya, which is my favorite 3D software. So now let me export the side pose, side view. Putting this all into my source images, which is like all of your images goes in there. Okay, so now that I'm in Maya, here's kind of your perspective view. If I hit the space bar, we get all the different views. So the front and the side, let's go into the front. We're gonna hit this little computer button. We're gonna find our image, and it's in our source file, so it's right there. And let me bring this up to about right there. Could even. Okay, so similar to the guides in Photoshop, we have it there. So now we have our view in the perspective, and I'm going to pull it back. So we can see it here. If you pull, this is how you could tell if you have it in the wrong way. Boom, because you want the little lines and everything here. So hit space bar, space into the side. Let's go to our computer button again. Pogo stick side view. Do the same thing. Okay. All right, almost there and ready to start modeling. So again, if you see the lines in here, you need to go the opposite way. Okay. So now we have our references, and in the middle is our grid. If we hit this little button, it goes away. I'm going to keep it for now. All right. Now the best way to look at an image that you want to model is from the shapes. So when we see our pogo stick, the main shape that we're working with is a cylinder. So let's go create polygon cylinder. And I also want to do X-ray wireframe on shading. Okay. So the wireframe, that's what gives it this little look. So I'll go into the perspective view. So it's all going to start from this little cylinder. So this one I can do wireframe so that when I don't have it selected, I can see the geometry. Okay. So let's line this guy up. Okay. I'm going to right click and click face and select the bottom faces. So here I'll go into the perspective view so you guys can see. So it's just here, selected that. Now I just have the bottom. And what I want to do is I'm going to hit shift and right click, extrude. Let me go to the perspective view so you can see. So I'm going to hit E, R, E. If you hit the F button, it'll allow you to zoom in close. Every time I'm building in Nifty, I always want to do this. Just hit the. It's just I can't help it. It's from working with Maya so much. But I think it'd be cool if we could, if there was a button like that, we could select it and it would go right to it. So, boom. Now we have the bottom, extrude to the front. G. The G key will do the same tool that you just did. So here we don't need to extrude out, we just need to extrude down. Okay. So we got that part. Now do the same thing for here, but this time we go to my reference. Yeah, so we're gonna go out this time. G key, boom. Bring this thing all the way up. So think of this as kind of like an arm. You would need the geometry for the elbow, wrist, and everything else. All right, so we're getting there. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, just checking. All right, so let's continue on. So this one, you can see it comes out. Go to our side reference too. Go X-ray, wireframe. Okay. So we're gonna select there. So selection is really important because we only want these top faces. So the easiest way for me to do it is just to select them all and then hold shift and deselect them. Then I have just this little part. So as you can see from our reference, now it's gonna come into itself. So we're gonna shift, right click, extrude, hit the R button, scale in, G again, W for the move, go to our reference, okay. And then I'm gonna hit G again, extrude, because right here we'll be using our a cylinder for that. G. All right, so now when I hit the 3 button, we have it nicely smoothed out. We're getting there. Hit 1 is the regular view. 3 is when you smooth it. So right off the bat, we can do a couple corrections. So I'm gonna grab this little ring here and hit bevel. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Could also just do multi-cut. Let me do this. Anytime you start getting little problems with your model, you want to go and delete the history. So everything that you do is going to be in these little areas. Every little stroke, every change to your model. Let me go. All right. So when you double click, this is what's really important about the edge loops is that when you double click, it'll go all the way around. So let's go multi-cut, add a little more geometry, and then grab this edge, right click, bevel. All right. We're getting there. Okay, so let's get the bottom of this guy. Select. A lot of the same things that we do over and over again as far as tools. Okay, so this one, he's gonna go smaller. So I'll go into the perspective. extrude, R for scale. Now I want to hit the G key again, extrude, go to our reference, pull this guy down. And you also want to add a little more geometry in there too. Usually do that part last. Okay, so now again, extrude, pull out. I'm gonna hit the R key to scale. G, R, pull down. Maybe one more. Okay. So let's go to our perspective view. And you can pretty much, we've almost got it. That's why these references are so helpful. Okay. So now let's get into it. At the last stage, we'll color it. Probably texture it as well. Okay. So let's look at the model. We need it from here and there, because we're gonna pull out these little wings things, the feet holders. Has anybody here gotten a pogo stick for Christmas? Out of curiosity, or even rode a pogo stick? All right. Do a little cleanup here. All right. Now you can see from from our image, it's got these little pads here. So let's add that. So we'll go select these guys for, look at our reference. It comes out a little bit, so let me put an edge loop, multi-cut. Okay. So if you select one face and then go to the other, you can, it's a way of selecting them all. So like always, we're going to extrude, hit R to scale. All right. Now, the new Maya I feel is a little glitchy with the selection. I think the old one used to be a little better, but each year they put out new versions. So now assign new material. Let's go blend. This will be our, well, we can actually take the color. So use a color picker. There we go. And let's name our colors. So let's go brown handles. All right. And now we need the same thing on the opposite side. So what I'm going to do, there's a couple different ways we can do this. We could cut this guy out and then flip it, but I feel like since this is for beginners, we should learn how to cut this guy in half. So I'm going to just hide my reference for now. All right. Yeah, pull up. There you go. Okay. Actually, I think for beginners, that's more of a challenge. So maybe what we'll do, let's do it like this. Versus having to cut everything out and worrying about getting everything, we'll just do it like this. Okay. So if you ever have any trouble with what you selected, you can hit the 4 button, and that's pretty much your wireframe. So 1 is the regular, 2, 3, but I have this selected. Okay. So let's go back there and to 1. Also put an edge loop there. Okay. So now let's do extract face. 5. Okay. So Shift I to hide everything. Now I'm gonna go from so I'm gonna hit D for the pivot point. You want to make sure it's exactly in the middle. Okay. So do edit, delete all type history, modify, freeze transformations, Shift D, and then -1. Now it's exactly like that. Okay. So now you just gotta be careful when you're messing with things. Okay, so let me isolate that guy. Oops, looks like I forgot a face. That's okay. That's kind of a good thing because we can see how we can fix things. So here to here, from edge, you can go bridge, bridge. Sorry. This is why selecting your faces is really important. Let's just do that real quick. Fix that. Okay. So let's make sure we get everything. So if you have them broke up, you can double click on all of them. Okay, so this guy, this little part is still a part of our pogo stick. So right click, extract. Okay. Now these are 2 separate elements. Boom. It's also, so we need these little boxes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we can do it like that. These are called faces. It looks like I should have just mirrored it in half. Sorry about that, guys. As you can tell, 3D can get complicated. All right. So I think I'm just gonna do that. Combine. Right. Just do it bit by bit. Okay, almost got it. Okay. See, not so bad when you just break it up into parts. DV, that's a quick way to snap things in. Okay. All right, so here's our history over here. Let's go edit, delete by type history. Now let's go to our mirror option. Boom. There we go. All right. Now, just so people know that these are separate objects right now. So when I click on, go to the vertex mode, so that's what we have to do. We need to combine these. So we're gonna right click, combine, go to vertex, select them all, and just go merge vertex. Now they are one object. Okay. Let's take the wireframe off. And so a lot of people get into this situation. They're like, oh, it looks bad. Well, let's just go to right click, soften, and soften our edge, and boom, we got it. Okay. So let's turn on our, unhide our reference. X-ray. No, I don't like the X-ray on the perspective view. I do like the wireframe on shaded. Okay. All right, so we're getting there. Just about got that part. Okay, so now let's go grab a cylinder. Create polygon cylinder. Pull it into place. Shrink it down. Hit R, and then J. It'll make a perfect rotations. R button to scale out. Okay. So when I hit the 3 button, this is what happens. We need to add a little more geometry to this guy. There we go. Wireframe on shaded. Okay. Let's turn off our grid. Start coloring this guy. Assign new material. Blend. Clean up our model too. So we want this to be a nice hard edge. Bevel. Multi-cut. There we go. Oops. Let's click something on accident. All right. So let's also delete our history. One. Grab black. Maybe not super black. Okay. Let's shrink this guy a little bit. Oh, like that. Okay, here we go. So now we can start coloring. We'll just do some basic colors for now. I'm thinking that we'll make a collection of pogo sticks. We'll do the basic one, see how far we go, and then do a full unwrap. Now we can use sign existing. This is why you should name your stuff. Okay, so let's do that. Blend 3 is red. Blend 2, black. And sometimes you might accidentally add a shader. So what you can do is go to render, hypershade. I saw that there was a standard when I accidentally. Oh, that's the default. So that's fine. Okay. Okay, let's continue with the color phase. Sign existing black. I think I'm gonna grab all those. Hit the G key, oops. The G key. And then we'll just go in and get these guys again. Yep, just make sure you don't grab wrong faces. Darn Maya. Okay. Ugh. Accidentally turn the normals on. I hate when that happens. Hasn't happened in a while. Find favorite. Let's do another blend. And we'll go silver. Okay. Oops. All right, so we have our model. Delete our references. Let's also save everything. Pogo stick, sword, weapon, 1. All right. Combine these. Okay. And Okay. So now we can bring in another reference, sword. So this is great. So I really like that Nifty Island provides assets that are great references. So I just imported the sword reference. And if I was a beginner, I would definitely do this. Okay, so let's go. Five, J. Okay. This is also important because it'll give you the pivot point that you need. You can see that's where the sword is. So let's hit the D key and get it into that. So I'm gonna use my finger. So it's about right there. D, pull it down. Okay, perfect. All right. So now we can do edit, delete by type history, modify, freeze transformation, pogo stick number 1. Should always name it. Okay. So now it is officially ready to be added to the Nifty Island section. Okay, so we want to export it as an FBX. You can click the animation off. You really want to include this embedded media. That way all your textures will go with you. Okay, so should even create a folder. Let's go pogo stick sword weapon. That way it's easier to find things. Open, now we'll name it. A lot of times you can use the find button to organize what you're looking for and find it. Pogo stick number 1. Okay. So now that we have that exported, we can go to Maya, or not Maya, to the Nifty Island. Speaking of which, make sure you guys grab my GTA Christmas package. It's got some really nice assets in there. Anybody who mints that will get a free gingerbread house and a free Christmas disco ball. All right, so pogo stick number 1. We want to find the type, and it's a sword. We'll say start build. And now it's building. Love the little graphics there. Okay. So while that's going, we can get a little deeper with our texturing. Okay. So let me just check. Is there anybody chatting? Okay. It's hard for me to focus on 2 things. So, all right. So now let's get into UV wrapping. Now think of texturing and unwrapping similar to a box, a package. You get a package, and to put it together, you need to fold it, da 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 da. Well, in 3D, this is our package, and we need to fold it to where it's flat. That's how we put our texture on it. So right now, it's got all this junk in here that are pieces of the model. All this stuff represents pieces of the model, and it goes in this little 1x1 square. This is our UV editor. Excuse me. So the easiest one to do is UV. So I'm using the space bar, pulls that up, UV automatic, and it'll do everything just a general way of unwrapping and packaging, which is fine, but it doesn't really give you much precision, and you have to guess what everything is. Like, what is this part? Why is it that part? Another way of doing, there's a lot of different ways to project map. So right now, I'll do spacebar UV camera based. And just so you can see what the camera base does, it literally just shoots it like you're the photographer. So makes a whole thing. Now, this is a way we could do it, and we could do a seam right here. Cut. But let's do it the way that I usually do it. So go to our, let's check on our, oh, here we go. So there you go. There's our model in Nifty, ready to be there. So we can do pogo stick number 1, this pogo stick sword. Pogo stick number 1, sword was created by GT8Studios. Tags, we can do sword, weapon, pogo stick, Christmas. Anybody else got another one? Present. Or let's say Nifty. Okay, so we can click next. Supply. Do we want a large supply or a limited supply? Could do 100. What is the consensus of the chat? Let's see. Okay. Let's do 100. That way there's not a ton of them. Let's do our creator royalties to 10%. Let's put this on Polygon. I usually go Polygon. Sometimes I do base. I do Polygon or base. Open edition. We could do it like that. Those are our options now on how you want to put out your piece. So with the open edition, there's no set number. If we click off, then we control that number. Is it possible to do both Polygon and base? I don't think you can. I mean, I think we'd have to relaunch it. I don't think we can do both options. That is a good question, though. What do you prefer, Polygon or base? I've been wondering because some people are about the Polygon, some are about the base. Polygon? All right. You got it. Let's do 100. Yeah, no, 2 polygons. 100, then there means that there's not a ton of them. It means there's limited supply. When Solana? Good question. Very good question. We do 500. That's a fair amount. That's a lot. 1,000. It's overkill. I'd say let's go 100 on this first one. Let's make it a limited edition. Okay. So these are good things to know about. So if you do the mint method free, create now, mint later, that means you don't pay gas. If you do it now, you pay a gas fee. You also want to make sure that it's public. Now, I think this is kind of interesting. Let's make this an asset file open source. Able to download by anybody using the provided link. So that way you guys can mess with it if you would like. Think being multi-chain and base, also a lot more people will be having base ETH for claims. That's true. Well, we can also launch it on Polygon and we can also launch it on Base. That just means there's 2 pieces in the collection, or two additional pieces. Do you guys want me to make the asset file open source? Sure. So usually when I'm testing models, I would do it as a personal one, and then I'll open it up in Nifty Island, mess around with it, see if it's the color I want, see if it's the way that I want it, and then once I'm done with that, I'll either use the same one and just make it public or make another one. So let's hit, let me see what's the chat got saying. Okay. So let's hit create. And let's wait a little bit. Come back to our, oops. All right. So I'm gonna use a different kind of image projection. That one's called planar. Plane. All right. And Pogo Stick number 1 is now available in the asset store. Awesome. Fantastic. So everybody can go grab that now. Free mint. Let's take a look and see what it looks like now that we've done it. So we could, if we wanted to sell it, here's the parameters. I'm not going to list it right now. All right. So let's come back to this guy. Track face. Okay. So we're in the side view. Go into the perspective view. And this time we'll use our camera based. Do the same thing for the other side. Back to perspective. G. Good old G key. Okay. So now we just have our main piece. Do a planar on that one. So essentially these are shells. So this was the one, the other. So these 3 things represent this cylinder. And usually I just pack these in. Okay. So there's first shell, there are other pieces. So let's keep going. So here's what's great about the edge loops is once you have it, you double click around, it'll get them all. Okay, so we'll do the same thing, we'll do a planar. And just make sure you don't click the wrong faces. Okay. 4. Camera based. Okay, so we almost got this guy. Planer again. So you can see the unwrapping process can be a little more intense. For this one, let's do a camera based. Probably should add a little more geometry into this. Okay. So that's that guy. And let me actually add one more edge loop in there. So this is neat. Once you've projection mapped one, you can double click on it in the UV editor. So I'm going to go edge, cut. Now just so you can see. So we have the model in half. Will be a little seam right here. Okay, so let's get this guy. Go to different. Okay. Spacebar, UV, camera based. Do the same thing on this guy. Cut a little seam in there. Right click, cut. So now we have the two shells. Try to get these guys to be the same. And then I can use the same texturing. Okay. Getting there, we're getting there. So the purpose of the unwrap is so that you can texture it your own way. So say we wanted to make this into like a candy cane pogo stick or a golden pogo stick, or make a collection out of this, or do our own texturing and writing on it. You know, maybe you're a graffiti artist and you want to graffiti art this part. Well, we need it to be flattened, like our box, our package. So you flatten the design in 3D, and then you could bring it into Photoshop or Substance Painter or whatever you like to use for your UV editor. And eventually we'll put all of them into this first one, because if you export it outside of that area, it's not gonna take it in the nifty creation spot. Okay. Get this guy. Camera base. Oops, must have gotten this. Yep. Just gotta make sure you get the right selection. UV camera based. Okay. Now let's redo that one. Okay. Planer. Okay. What's left? So grabbed a little bit of that. UV planer. Okay. Just put that shell in there. Okay. Now it's just this little part. Do the same thing. Planer. For the okay. Go back to combine. And now let's get all of our shells in there. So you can still select, even though they're combined, you can still select the images or the shapes. So I'm in the face. Okay. Oops. All right. Now let's grab the biggest piece. Let's see, which piece is that? Okay, so that's how you can tell sometimes. It can get confusing about which shells are which. So I can click on that one and then, okay, I see that it's that. All right, so let's bring this guy over and we'll focus on one shell at a time. So right now, I'm gonna select that, hit this little camera button, logo, stick, shell, red. So I'm taking a UV snapshot. Applying close. Yep. So now we can go back into Photoshop. Find our image. All right. So here we are in Photoshop. This is what the texture looks, or the UVs look like. Can unlock that. One thing I like to do usually is select around it. Command Shift I, Command J. And now I have that shape all by itself. And let's do, in the spirit of Christmas, do a Christmas themed piece. This one, let's. Definitely recommend people getting familiar with Photoshop. Great way to do a lot of stuff, actually. Okay, so I'm just copying. Oops. So once you've got most of it, we can Apple J, transform. All right. So here we have our texture. All right, so let's go File, Export, save this into our source images. Candy cane, Pogo. Let's go back to Maya. And then this is where the fun begins. UV editor, got that selected. We'll do right click, assign favorite material, blend, click the color, click the file. No, date modified, date modified. Hit the 6 button, and then boom, we got our candy cane texture on that little piece. I like that. That's funny. Yeah, seeing people on a pogo stick is the funniest things. um, my best friend, he's from Chile, and he's studying in Puerto Rico right now. And I asked him, did you ever get a pogo stick or anything?" He's like, "No, I never got any of that stuff. I got soccer shoes and stuff like that." So that was another reason I wanted to have a toy that people can get. Okay, so let's continue texturing process. Now that these shells are in the nice order, we can even just use this same texture, same texture map. Okay, so you could tell I was searching for like what name did I have it. So let's also delete the history. See, that's everything here that we've done in just a little bit. All these projection planers, everything. So you want to get rid of that junk on a regular basis. Okay. So here, yep. So if we scale this down, it'll look like it's getting bigger. Scale it up. We can't go past it because we don't want to go outside the UV range. The 1v1. We can also the J key and do diagonal. Sometimes results may vary. I think that's good enough. Kind of like that. Okay. Ooh, interesting. So you can see how the texture kind of got muddied there. It's not like something I did. It's just the processing. So let's save this as Andy in. Let's reopen it. All right, see? Now you have the high resolution, back to it. So sometimes that happens. You just have to mess with it. Okay, so let's continue our texturing process. My candy cane go. Blend 5 is candy cane. Okay, perfect. Whoops. So today I kind of wanted to show you guys how from one asset you can make a collection of assets by just using texture. Think of it like Mario and Luigi. Really, they're the same person, but you color one guy green, one guy red, and now you've got a whole new model. This is cool because you can see it live, what you're doing. Okay, and then this guy, let's do the same thing. Right click, assign candy cane. Lovely. Bring that guy in here. So the higher we go on this guy, the more we have in the rings. If you want it to be a different direction, I think that fits a little better. Okay. Oops. Okay, so remember to use the 4 key if you're not sure. I don't want this guy. There. That's better. And then let's move this dude over. Now we can even just scale Lily in and just make it full red. So you can see it can get from from simple model to a lot more complexity. Fine. Candy cane. In our little 1x1 grid. Okay. I like this here because it's kind of like telling you that it's spring actioned. Okay. And we're getting there. See, little by little. Poco y poco, as they would say, or pogo y pogo, little by little in Espanol. Okay. So this guy, Just gonna texture it all. Whoops. Same procedure. Now, sometimes if you were doing a model with multiple materials, you'd have to do this a little different. Like if it was wood, metal, steel, gold, all that. And then color for the tip. Do we go same? I guess so. Might as well. Candy cane. Candius Canius. Let's start bringing in these guys to our world. Key a lot. I use F all the time. F and A. Just F. Okay. Almost got them all packed in now. Gotta get these guys in. F. Probably do these guys a little different, but for a beginner, this is a lot as is. Okay. All right. Now we got all these guys in there. Model is fully textured. Save it again. Okay. Let's also edit, delete by type history. Oh, and here's a good thing to note that so here this isn't really showing up, this P cylinder 1, so we can delete that because we don't want any excess stuff. Let's do candy cane again, just so that we get the full texture. See? Biggity bam. So now we can close. Oh, ooh, I see. Whoops. Let's fix this guy. Just select it by hand. I'll remember, make sure you didn't. Oh, yep, I did. So let's do it from this way. See how much easier it is? Okay, so sign existing material, candy cane. And we'll just make that guy all red to fit. Alrighty. So now we have a candy cane version of our pogo stick. So we're adding to our collection. Let's also do a delete by type history, modify, freeze transformations. And while we're at it, let's bring in our awesome reference from Nifty Island, their sword. To make sure. Now, I was also thinking about there's another way we can do the pogo stick too. We could easily make it flipped like that version. Oops. Where this part is there. So that's another route we can go if we wanted to make a collection. So not just the way that you hold it, there's two different ways. So we can hold it from up here this little section here. But right now, as it is, it'll be held right there. So now we're looking for the pivot point. Modify, center pivot. Excuse me. And then I'm gonna hit D for the orientation. And it's usually about there. I think it's probably a little lower. Whoops. D. Whoops. D. Okay. So he is right there. Put my finger there. D. Go a little lower. Okay. As soon as I saw Nifty Island came out, I was like, oh, let me look at the reference images, see reference models and everything, and take a look. That's the best way to figure something out, is to see what example they're giving you. Okay, so now he is ready. File, export selection, pogo stick, candy, sword. All right, so we save that as an FBX, and then let's go into Blender, do some additional stuff. So inside Blender, we're going to use one of my favorite maps, which is called an emissions map. I feel like the emissions is where you get the magic. If you want something to glow, if you want writing to glow, or any kind of texture that you've made to glow, that's where the emissions maps is very helpful. So file, import, FBX. See, where is, let me go back and save it in a better place. Sport selection, kind, final FBX. Candy, cane. Oh, let's go pogo, stick, candy, cane, sword. Okay. Command tab to switch back. So final FBX, date modified, pogo stick, candle, sword. You know what I mean? Let's go into our shading. All right. Okay. Now, in here, we have our texture information. So, we can skip the normal for now, but what I definitely want is the emissions. So I'm going to pull this out. Image, color. Okay. Now I need to find my, go to here, file, export from Photoshop. And we'll put it in my testing folder. So when I was doing my Christmas models, I kept everything in this testing folder. And so final FBXs, final GLPs, anything, and just kept myself organized, because all these textures, images, files, Photoshop files, exported materials, it can get very, very crazy. Photoshop emissions. All right. So you can see by the dial, now it will glow. So now we can do from here. You don't want to do it too much glow. Let's just do 1, maybe 1.4. Now when it's in the Nifty game, in game, it'll really pop, it'll glow. It'll literally be glowing. And that's what is so important about this emissions map, is that point. So say you wanted to do some cool graffiti writing or something. Well, you can do that in the Photoshop. So you would just draw whatever you wanted, and then the rest would be black. But here I just have the whole thing, so I could just export the whole thing. All right, so now let's go to the final process of this one, and that's export GLTF. So I'm gonna put that in my final folder. Pogo, stick, candy, cane, sword, weapon. Export that. Command T, let's go to Google. Create. Find our testing. Final. See, it's a lot easier for me when I'm got everything. Pogo stick organized in a folder. Not saying final, 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 final number one, final number two. Oh, yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, just do numbers. Pogo stick 1, 2, 3, 4, and go up. You usually want to save in increments and save often. Okay, so got that. Start the build. Get to the next process. Now, we usually want to showpiece these models. While that's loading, we can go to well, here's just a basic rendering. Boom. So we can take that, bring it to another software. So if you wanted a higher resolution, you go into the render settings. I would even add some lights. So here we can go full 1024. Too close. Because once you're done, you really want to showcase it nicely. So you want to get a nice render of it. I would probably use Arnold, but that gets a little more intense. So I'm just keeping it basic for the rendering process of it. But yeah, so then once we're done with all that, we would want to pop that into the cover area. Oh, see what happened. Warning. Too many out of bounds. So sometimes it could be that there's extra textures. Maybe some of these are out of bounds. Oh, yep. You can see that one. Here, I'll undo that. That guy was over here. So let's put him where he's supposed to be. Gotta love the warnings. It actually helps me a ton. It's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. So delete by type history, file, export. And we would just have to do that whole process again to Blender, which is not a big deal, but you know, that's one of the things we got to do. So, where my guy? Desktop, my testing area, final FBXs. Should even do a pogo stick sword candy. Oops. Pogo stick candy cane. I'm putting pogo stick first because I've already made candy cane swords. I don't want to get confused if I accidentally look for one. So you want to help yourself out with this kind of stuff. So you're not spending your life away searching for these awesome models that you made. So we can go back in. Practice makes perfect. They don't save, X delete, file, import FBX, final FBX, Pogo 6 sword. You're not in there. G, Pogo 6 sword, Pogo stick, candy, cane, sword. Back into it. There we go. Go to shading. Okay. So let's take a look at the reference one more time. Not the reference, but the rendering it did. Maybe I should have baked them. Okay. So one here. So when I say baking in Maya, I could have baked the textures there, like compact it all to where it's essentially living on it. You know, it's not applied, it is it. It's on it. That's what's baking. Once you bake something, it's there forever. So grab our emissions. File. Export. Put it in the final folder. All right, we'll let that build. Check our Discord. Okay. So say we wanted to do a golden one. Let's do one more. Um, find some gold. Okay. So I just gonna grab it from this guy. Or as time to gold. We also want to export it into our source images. Okay. So now I can go into here, go into candy cane, the map area, date modify to find it the easiest. Boom. Okay, now we got a gold. We can do file, export selection, pogo stick, gold. I'll just do the whole thing gold for now. Later on, I'll probably make a real nice collection out of all this stuff. Okay, so go into Blender, save this guy, candy cane, put pogo stick first, pogo stick, candy cane, sword. All right, let's go. Could just take out the here. This is one way to do it. Boom. but it's got the emission map. See? Of that. Okay, so now we have a golden pogo stick. Yay. And it'll shine nicely too in game. So export. Pogo stick. Gold. All right, perfect. So we can add this one. Show all. Stored. And come back to that one. So I think the emissions map might need a little fine tuning. But this is perfect. We can use this guy. Sorry. Okay. Start build. All right. Hoping everybody is enjoying this as much as I am. Topo really thanks you guys from the bottom of my heart. Every one of you that's listening and tuning in is collected models. Really appreciate you immensely. Thank you all for coming. To do a little rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. But you know what? I think Topo is not quite in the Christmas spirit. So let's switch him out. I'm a firm believer in 2D or advocate for 2D. I believe the best 3D comes from really good 2D. So keep that in mind. Or photos, the references really hold everything together. And it's very important that you use all that stuff. So here we have our topo guy, different head turns. Let's do one more rock, paper, scissors. There we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Two more. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Awesome. So let's check back into our golden pogo stick. Yay! All right. So let's hit next. This gold. This pogo stick gold sword weapon created by at GT8Studios, December 19th, 2024, using the nifty Island Creator tool. Let's say gold pogo stick Christmas sword weapon. Next, let's do this as an open edition. Are we sticking with Polygon again? I love gold. That's funny. Polygon forever. Alrighty, all right, you heard it from Bape himself. You heard it. Speaking of which, Bape has won every single one of my races on my island. Crax had it. Who else had it? Devil guy, the Steel Devil guy. He was a winner for a long time, and then finally, Bape just took over and has gotten first place on every single one of my races. So that's my challenge, everybody. Can you beat him? Can you beat the champ himself? I've got some really cool Christmas races going on. Make sure to check them out. I'll be there tonight at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. No, let's do 9 EST. I'm in Chicago, so that's 8 for me. All right, so we're going to do an open edition, meaning that it's going to be open as long as we put the date for it. So you can do 3 days, a custom date. I say let's do till the 26th. That's fine. Mint price, 0. Do you have to put points? Yeah, it's 0. This is the one place you can put 0. Eligibility criteria, available to everyone. This is where, so say you're making it for a specific community. Say that they hired you to make Christmas pogo sticks or whatever kind of weapon or anything like that. This is where you would put it in there. Must hold a specific NFT or crypto. And then you'd put in the chain number, what kind of limit per person as well. So I usually put 1. Definitely put the creator royalties up to 10%, between 7 and 10. That way you get a little bit of something. Mint price 0, custom date. Now you always want to double check this stuff. And look, see, let's go to Poly. Make sure we do that. We don't want it to be holding a specific one, but like say we wanted the palm holders, only palm holders. You could do that. Only nifty people, only whatever you want. Just make sure you have the contract correct. So now we can click next. Make sure that this is your asset and make sure that you comply with the Nifty Island terms of use. Definitely look at that. Make sure that it's all your work and then double check all here. Blockchain, supply, mint start, mint end, mint price, eligibility. All these things are really important when you're building 3D assets. Especially if it's for a client, you don't want to put the wrong things. It's one thing if it's for yourself, but it's another thing if it's for your clients. So you definitely want to check out. Okay, so let's hit create. Create token. Waiting for approval. Make sure you check your contract so there's not any malicious. Okay, processing transformation transaction. All right, what's next? Congratulations, your open edition has been created. Pogo Stick Gold Sword Weapon. Awesome. That is free. It looks like the other one didn't quite do it correctly. So let's do this. Let's do sell, and we'll do 25 of them at 0.0001. And let's do that for 30 days. Once the 25 is up, I'll open those up again. So there you have it. We have made 2 pieces, technically 3, but I want to fix up the candy cane a little bit more. I think with the emissions there, I could fix it up, but I don't want to do that now. So everything goes into your created section. So in my inventory, you'll see it pop up. It's the gold one's not there because it's open edition. Actually, let me go mint this guy. Got to support yourself. Transaction requested. Make sure you read this. Oh, I can't wait to crack some people with a pogo stick tonight. And then I'll fix up the candy cane one today and make that an open edition as well. So don't worry, everybody. You got me. I gotcha. So when I go to my inventory, sometimes you need to sync inventory, and then it'll appear later on. Something that happens. But I do own one. So I know that's for a fact. And you can always check the blockchain list or the transactions. So did anybody TDN Lizen just grabbed my Christmas package 49 minutes ago. So for him, I'm gonna give him a bonus models. Anybody who mints my Christmas collection, I'm going to. Oh, let me follow him back too. I am going to send you some of my other stuff. Right click. So that guy, he is going to get a gingerbread house and a disco ball for minting. I like to reward my peoples. So let's go transfer. I copied his address already, so we can hit transfer. Make sure that transfer request is good. Transfer. So when you start making a lot of models and getting to this point, you're going to be doing a lot of things like this. And I had made a post saying that anybody who mints it will get it. So that's the back end work that I got to do sometimes is make sure that I'm hooking everybody up and doing my due diligence. Total minted too. All right. Oh, same guy. TDN. Are you in the space? Thank you, buddy. Make a Papa Noel sword. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I need a reference. Anytime you have a reference, then it doesn't matter. You know, I can just go off the reference. And so any photograph, design, drawing, front, side, front is a basic need, but side is very helpful as long as any other ones too. So just keep in mind that your references can come from a lot of different sources. And let's make sure that went through. Yeah. So you can see 28 seconds ago, my homie got hooked up. And that's pretty much it for now, I guess. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure to grab some of my models. Tune in. Stay tapped in. Keep building. Just takes one little image and then time, and then you got it.